And welcome everyone to the Tuesday night marathon here at the Mechanics Institute. We are in round 6. I'm Abel Talamantes, chess director at Mechanics, and with me is the FIDE master, Paul Whitehead.
You gotta lean in a little bit. Get seen by the old camera there.
Oh yeah, there we go. And so how's it going?
I'm doing okay. John Donaldson was just visiting the club, setting up a new laptop with Elliot Winslow, and Reka Starry is here, back from Oxford for a while.
She actually made the flight back just so that she could guest host the Tuesday night marathon.
And so she's gonna. There's
honored.
some stuff about English chess that we've got to learn about, and
yeah, maybe she could tell us about the Oxford chess team and the Oxford Cambridge rivalry and all that.
What's up with you, Nick?
Not much. Much more interesting there.
There's a lot of stuff going on, and we're gonna have some pretty intriguing matchups going on. So. We'll get into that real shortly, but let's have Reka join so I can go do some tournament directing.
Oh yeah, that's a Tuesday night marathon is going on. That's right. This is round, what round are we in?
6.
We're in round 6. Wow. And so there's one more round after this, or two more rounds. Folks, fasten your seatbelts. Reka, you gonna wear your mask? All right, let's make sure you're in the camera. You gotta scoot a little closer. Okay. Hey, Reka, how's it going?
I'm good. I'm quite tired, but I'm good.
Tired but good.
Yes.
So, what's happening? You're back from Oxford.
I am. Yes. Our first time just finished, so I flew back today. I landed like a couple hours ago.
And so, how was the flight?
Long.
Yeah.
Cramped, but as most 10-hour flights go, it was quite average.
I can't even imagine taking a 10-hour flight, and everybody's wearing their mask, of course.
Of course.
And
Actually, I'm quite good about it.
And so you're studying law?
Yes, I am.
And any chess at all? Let's just hit to the chess immediately, and then we can talk about something else.
My great shame that I didn't participate in much chess while I was there. I did meet the Irish chess champion, who's one of my friends there. I think in 2020 he won the championship.
Wow.
So yes, FIDE master Tom O'Gorman.
Wow.
Yeah, so he, I think, leads the Hartford and possibly the Oxford chess team as well. And I've heard bits and pieces from him, but I wasn't too involved in the chess team yet, mostly because I had lots of things I was still getting acclimated to, but hopefully next term's report will be much more chess centric, I promise.
Well, let's see. I was going to say something about Irish chess, but yeah.
I know.
Well, you're a tournament director yourself.
Yes. Senior tournament director still. Trying to become a national tournament director while I'm here, but we'll see how well that goes. And also a national arbiter for FIDE.
And a national arbiter for FIDE. Wow. Okay. And your mom is in the other room, Judith, directing this tournament, which is going on right now. Do you want to look at some of these games?
My input will be dismal, but sure.
You know how to play chess. I'm guarantee it. So
whether or not I know how to play with chess well is a completely different question, but yes.
I always tell Judith, your mom, that if she put her mind to it, she'd be the best chess player in the club.
She definitely would.
That's what I truly
Undoubtedly.
believe. And what about you, Nick? What have you been up to?
Nothing much. I'm curious to hear the stories of England. There's
merry old England.
Jolly old England.
The good old days. For me, there was like John Nunn and Murray Chandler and Shorten people, and so
I've met
now you still have the British Chess League and such.
Have you met any of those guys?
No, I have not had the pleasure, unfortunately.
So there was Hu Yifan was in Oxford, I think.
I think she finished it quite a few years ago at St Hilda's. I actually just looked it up because you
Okay.
mentioned it. So she's
Okay.
at St Hilda's College in Oxford, on a Rhodes Scholarship. So yeah.
So it was like a Rhodes Scholarship is one of those like you go in and you go out and kind of things rather than stay for the full.
She got a degree from Oxford, so
Oh,
I
she
think
did.
she got a master's, but I think masters are like 1 year, so it
Okay.
works easier that way.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, are they going to have masters that are like 1 month masters or something like that?
I don't think quite yet, but I'm sure we will eventually progress to that stage because I think it started out being an 8-year Oxford degree,
Wow.
and I'm only doing a 3-year degree, so
Still, that's amazing.
it's getting shorter and shorter. But yeah, so she went to St Hilda's College, and I go to Hertford College, which is undoubtedly the best one. No question.
And you're
Obviously,
studying law.
the dear. Yes.
And you're studying law. So what's it like there? I mean, is snowing in the winter, and have you been there a whole year now?
2-3 months.
3 months only.
Like 2-3 months.
I'm out of the loop. Sorry.
No, it's fine. So my term started in the beginning of October, and I came a tad bit early.
Okay.
And our terms are divided into 8-week segments. So I just finished my first 8-week segment, and then I stayed a bit longer as well. And then the next 8-week segment begins in the middle of January.
What I always think when I think of Oxford and school and all that, I'm always from literature. It's always like, you go to this school and you're given some books to read, and then you're just left on your own for 8 weeks, and then you meet with your
Shockingly accurate, actually.
fantastic.
The way, it's alarmingly accurate because what'll happen is we get a reading list in the very beginning of the year that outlines what we're meant to read each week, what cases, what part of the textbook. Actually, I think.
And then they just leave you alone so that you can have party and
I mean, sure. Okay, we don't
they
meet.
trust the students.
We don't
it's
meet-
amazing.
Unbelievable. We don't meet once a term. We meet once a week for one class, or one subject, and then once every 2 weeks for constitutional law. And then they just give us tons of reading and then an essay for each time we meet,
Right.
which we call tutorials.
That sounds so civilized,
It's very nice, but the only downfall of it is that if you don't understand something by yourself, it's kind of too late by the time you get to tutorial. You can't really correct your essay because there was a concept that I didn't quite understand for criminal law. And
I
it's
see.
She explained it very well, but then I'd already submitted my essay, so it was kind of too late in a way.
So you're either like a genius and you know it, or else you're just gonna get lost in the weeds or something.
I don't think anyone really got lost yet, but I mean, it is a lot of hard self-work.
Do
but
students study together? They must.
Yeah, quite a few of us do. I'm friends with quite a few lawyers, and we do help each other. But actually, it's really difficult to study with other lawyers because I usually study with chemists because they'll be doing the little problem sheets. I'll be reading an intensely long case. It's filled with complicated language. Because if I start complaining about the case I'm reading, then another lawyer will start complaining with me, and then it'll just turn into like an hour-long rant about the degree we're doing. Whereas if I start ranting to a chemist, they just won't understand any of it, and then go, all right, fair enough, and
Right.
then just continue their work.
Let's do the chemistry. yeah.
Exactly. They don't let me get distracted very easily.
Right, that makes complete sense. Because with the law, you're talking about words and arguments, and there's a lot of art to it. There's an amazing amount of art to it.
And a particularly nasty judge whose judgments I just absolutely cannot stand because he goes in convoluted directions.
Right.
But yeah, so
Wow. So I was joking with Reka, Nick, that she should just go straight through to judge, jury, and executioner. Forget about being an attorney.
who needs the separation of powers really? I mean, but yeah.
Are there any lawyers in your family at all, Nick?
Actually, my brother-in-law, he studied at Oxford too. There, he's a lawyer, but actually,
Really?
but he just studied philosophy. He got his law degree in California.
Ah,
That's actually a really popular route because laws, I mean, it's what lawyers call the cheating route, because we will always argue that law is the hardest degree, obviously. So when we philosophers end up becoming lawyers, we always have a tiny bit of beef with them, saying, well, you just cheated your way to the law degree.
Don't say that, because you may end up taking a philosophy degree yourself one day.
Of course, I'll just cheat out into philosophy or something, but yeah. No, of course, it's all in good fun. We all argue in Oxford that there's an expression that we all think our college is the best and our subject is the worst. I mean, our academic induction, like our orientation, began with saying, all right, all of you should do around 35, 40 hours of work a week, except the lawyers. You have to do 45. And it's like, all right, fair enough, thank you. That's great to start off with.
Well, it sounds like you're having fun.
It was a wonderful time, and I met some amazing people, and I absolutely love the city and the college.
And you've already gotten yourself a bit of an English accent, Rekha. It's amazing.
Necessary. Otherwise, people will think that I didn't actually go to Oxford if I come back without one.
That's incredible.
But yeah.
Nick, did you speak Danish with an American accent when you were over in?
It was, yeah. It's hard to, when you come to a country, especially a different language, it's very hard to speak like native.
Right.
Oh,
Rekha, there's this great pub there in Oxford that these wonderful authors, Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, about the 3 or 4 others, they used to meet every Wednesday, like 11 a.m. They designated table.
the
Bill
Tuft
Labor,
Tavern, perhaps?
The Tuft Tavern, she's Rekha saying.
Perhaps. I've forgotten the name.
Bill Clinton was a regular apparently in Tuft Tavern. There's a famous sign saying that he definitely did not inhale any drugs
Yes.
in this tavern. Bill Clinton did not inhale drugs in this tavern. It's actually right underneath my window in Oxford.
That's hilarious.
So the amount of times that I've had, there's a sign. Hertford has the famous Bridge of Sighs, and underneath the Bridge of Sighs, if you turn left, there's like a narrow alleyway that leads to Tuft Tavern, and it's right underneath my window. So the amount of times I've heard Tuft Tavern and education and intoxication, and then also just the 11 p.m., 12 a.m. drunken shouts is I mean, it's just part of living there, but yeah.
So are you playing lawn tennis or boating, doing any boating or?
Not quite yet. I tried to join rowing, but the problem is our boat club is 30-minute walk away, and I could not justify that. But I have a friend who's incredibly regular in rowing, and he really enjoys it. So yeah, he has a bike, so that helps. But yeah.
How about punting? Have you tried that?
It is amazing. I love punting so much. Actually, my friends declared me the best punter in the friend group, so they've elected.
Paul, punting is the boat that you push with a pole.
It's this massive pole.
Right.
You stand at the very edge of the boat, and then you sort of push yourself forward with the pole, and then people sitting in it. My friends declared me the best person to handle the punting bit, so I've actually punted twice.
Wow.
It was after matriculation. We got free bottles of Prosecco from the college, because of course we did. And it was just my friends progressively getting more and more drunk in the punts, and then 2 of us punting down the river. Both of us were sober, because you need to be sober to punt, but it was just them progressively just losing themselves.
Nick, have you ever punted?
Yes, it was quite good there.
Were you the punter, or were you in the boat?
Oh, I did a little of both.
I mean, it's wonderful. It's great fun.
So punter, and isn't that a colloquial expression, means somebody who bets on something is a punter as well. Have you ever heard that?
I have not,
Okay.
but I'm sure it exists.
Right. Okay.
Quite a few new insults, but that's not one of them. Someone called me a punt purely for the alliteration. Yeah.
That's awful. I'm sorry.
Oh no, they called me a punt to be funny. Like, they didn't actually believe the other word. It was just for the wordplay.
I see. Okay. Well, this is a family show.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's all right. Actually, it's not a
Someone call me
show. It's not a show at all, actually.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the show.
Welcome back to the show. Yeah.
Welcome back to the Tuesday Night Marathon show.
The Tuesday Night Marathon show. Let's take a quick run through the games here, just really quickly.
Will I be
and then
this?
and then we'll come back to Oxford. This is Elliot Winslow playing Lucas Lesniewski. Are you ready for the change of direction, everybody?
Solid first.
Nick?
Oh, all right. We can look at some tests, okay?
Fair enough.
Okay. Look at this move.
Beautiful. Again, I'm not sure what.
This is the
Albin counter.
Albin counter gambit, right? I was going to call it the Hungarian gambit, but now was Albin. Where was Albin from? Does anybody know?
I'm not sure. Was he French?
Is he a Frenchman? Okay. So takes d4. This resembles those Hungarian defenses, right?
I like if you're going to play against the great Winslow, you have to try something tricky.
Okay, a3 prevents bishop b4 check. Elliot expands, and here comes the attack on e5. But Elliot's got that covered with being able to still take on d4. What do you know about this, Nick?
Oh, I think White's supposed to get a bit of an edge.
Okay. Elliot keeps it simple, and even though Black regains his pawn, White has an edge still.
Not sure.
Not much of
well,
one. Maybe small lead in development. And the pieces come out. Black castles queen side. That looks good. Why not develop? Oh, I see. There's a problem with maybe pawn f6 here. I don't know. Rook c1.
Well, I believe he does give up his g pawn to open file, so we're
Why
going to
did he put
get
his
some
king
good
instead of
tactics soon.
When the queens come off, I'm going to digress here. When the queens are exchanged early in the game, His Majesty feels much safer and feels like he can come out to play, right? Because the queen is not there to harass him. And so
Positive imagery.
well, okay,
I'm joking.
So that's kind of
Yeah.
usually, and now the king is a fighting piece in his own right, and so he can take place. He's not in too much danger here.
Fair enough.
So Black gives to accelerate his development, plays bishop e7, and White goes for the bait because it looks like he traps the rook. And I'm not sure why Black would have done this. What do you think, Nick?
Well, there is the D file, so is something happening on the D file there? That's
It looks to me like Black took a risk by doing this.
yes, but what is happening?
White still has to trap it,
Yes, indeed.
and that might be tricky.
If you go rook to C1,
Can I expand this?
it's
Then you can't see the chat.
Oh, okay. How do I exit? Okay.
Where is the chat?
Where's the medium window? Oh, there's a chat. Is there a chat over there? Oh, it's on that
Is there
side.
anyone in the chat?
Yeah, that's in. You're in the user
Ah,
here.
okay. We're just getting oriented here, Nick. It's a long evening ahead.
Okay, that's not happening.
There we go.
Okay.
Boom.
Okay.
Super.
Hi, Mike.
good. We have Mike Walder joining the
Yeah, Mike is here as usual. Okay. Okay, so, all right. Well, let's leave the players here. What do you think, Nick? Or we'll make a quick judgment.
Oh, I think we're going to get some tactics here. You're right, that Rick is trapped on G2, but problems on the D file on every single black piece in play. So something like knight G3, pawn G3, bishop G4 check.
How about bishop E4, knight G3, HG3, rook D2 check? What am I looking at here?
Yeah, so or we throw in bishop G4 check after knight G3, pawn G3, bishop G4 check. Not sure what you interpose with.
Sticky. It's
You
sticky.
can have some messy positions here.
What do they
say?
say?
A lot of calculating.
What do they say in England? Is it sticky? Is it messy? Is it what's their colloquial expression?
I can't say that I've used the expression too often there. I would say more. I don't know. I don't think there's a special expression. I think it's more up to the individual.
Right.
In a bit of a spot.
We're in a bit of a spot. Yeah, a bit of a spot here for the white side. Both players are,
A sticky wicket.
It's a sticky
dear.
wicket, old chap.
One of my friends just says, "Oh dear."
Oh dear. Yeah, that's how you say it. I've watched enough Monty Python to last a lifetime.
Faulty Towers, I can
Oh,
probably recite.
Faulty Towers is fantastic.
I think I can recite it by heart pretty much. Put me in any of the roles.
Okay. Let's go down to the next game. We have the games mixed up. We'll have to tell.
So this isn't Elliot, Ben.
Yeah, we're going to have to talk to Abel about that. Meanwhile, let's go down to board 3. Guy Argo is playing Nathan Fong. Does this look like a Guy Argo opening?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
F4.
Two experts, strong experts playing each other here. They have Elliot and Stafford mixed up again. Yeah, okay. Those guys are always getting mixed up. Elliot. He's a mixed up kind of feller. Okay. Now, if
Sorry.
that's okay, you're jet lagged, huh? I'll
It's
bet.
like
Yeah, starting to get tired.
3 a.m. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, don't feel obligated to.
Oh no!
you know,
I'm probably
but-
gonna leave when Mum comes back, but we'll see. We shall see.
And by the way, I don't think Reka is bored with the chess position.
Yeah, I'm
She's just
definitely not.
tired from jet lagged.
I woke up at 6 in British time, and then got on the flight, and then hopefully slept a bit on the
So
flight.
okay, I'm gonna say something controversial here, but
Yeah.
do the English still have the awful food that they had when I was living there? And
What is
Right.
awful British food? What's the question is underlying what awful British food did you have?
well, I remember just having badly cooked vegetables and stuff was boiled to the I think I just
Yeah.
got used to some sort of awful country cooking. Like I said, I went to boarding school, and they had local cooks at the school, and
So you
I
went to
wasn't
Suffolk.
impressed. Yeah, I went to school in Suffolk.
My friend from Suffolk, we actually have a joke between us that he woefully undercooks his carrots. Like, he says his carrots are al dente, and I don't think that's a thing.
Al dente.
I don't think al dente carrots are particularly, like, aspirational goal. My comment on British food is the whole food we are served is really nice. Like, props to our chefs, they're really nice. I'm kind of opposed to the sheer amount of potatoes they feel the need to add to every single dish.
Potatoes.
Every dish has
Right.
to have boiled or baked potatoes as a side. Like, it isn't even interesting potatoes, it's just chopped in four and then off you go. Like,
And
no,
off you go.
one of the scarring memories is I was in a mutual kitchen, and one of my friends comes home, like one of my chemist's friends comes home in the middle of the night, I think it's like midnight, and he's very clearly dead tired, wants to make himself some tea, because of course he does. And he lifts a mug that was upside down, he lifts it up, and underneath it is just a whole baked potato.
There's baked potatoes
And
everywhere.
He just looks at it for a second, as though nothing happened, puts it back. It's a normal place for baked potato to be.
Where was this baked potato again?
It was underneath them. It was. This has things in it. It
Underneath
was
the
underneath
cup.
a mug turned upside down on a plate, and he just lifts it up to use the mug, and it was just a baked potato.
There's baked potatoes everywhere.
This is also my
apparently, in
friend from
Oxford.
Suffolk. Yeah.
So
I'd say British cuisine is perfectly fine. Again, too many potatoes for my liking. but-
it's probably improved a lot since I was there in the late 1960s and early 1970s. But I remember fish and chips being the most incredibly wonderful
Fish
food.
and chips is really nice. Every Friday lunch, our whole food is just fish and chips. And it's,
Yeah,
they do it very well. So
delicious. Yeah.
Shall we go?
Hi. Are you leaving? Are you taking your
I want to take her home.
Take her home.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
That's good. I think her dad is missing her.
Yeah, of course.
Wanna
All
hug
right.
her?
Bye now.
Thank you for letting us off the hook.
Yeah. See you later.
Bye.
See you later, alligator. Okay. Well, that was Rekha Starry, jet lagged, and making lots of funny jokes about Oxford and the cuisine and
Well, she's gonna be back
punting
next
and-
week, so I will. Yes. All right.
so your son ordered. Mike's son ordered eggs over easy and was called a barbarian by the waiter.
Yes. Bye, guys.
Okay. Good night. Good night. Welcome back. Okay. Well, Nick, now we have to talk about chess.
Well, that was pretty good. That was the Mechanics Institute's attempt at streaming, like Anna Cramling does, or we have to talk about other things. It's all these sites, they have thousands of viewers, and like they do just chatting, and so it's good to talk about hunting or eggs over easy or.
Absolutely, and you don't know what you're going to get here, which can be either good or bad. In any case, Mike, thanks for joining in the chat, and we're at the round 6 of the Tuesday Night Marathon. Tournament started in 1972. In fact, next year is going to be the 50th anniversary of this incredible tournament, this legacy chess tournament. Right now, Elliot Winslow is a clear point ahead of the field, and with a whole bunch of people behind him at 3.5 out of 5. All right, so let's see what's happening in this game. And Nick, can you keep everybody happy for a minute while I go and find Abel?
Okay, sure. Yeah, this game just went a bit wrong. I'd say Nathan Fong kind of exchanged the wrong pieces and let that white pawn
We have
get up to
board 1 and board 2 mixed up. I have to tell Abel.
E4.
Okay, let me tell him.
Are you going to tell him?
Yeah, but there's the men's bathroom is
Disgusting.
yes, and so he has the janitors to come and clean it. So he has to send that to defer people from going in. So
Okay.
he might be like a few more minutes.
Sure. Thank you. All right. Bye now. We're there's a chess tournament being run here with 60 players probably, or if not more, in the and we're trying to put our fingers in the you know, prevent things from happening here and there. And but anyway, let's talk chess, Nick.
Okay, because there was a water issue in the men's bathroom. One of the, I think, faucets was running or something, and the continual problem.
Yeah.
But
Well, this
you
is a
wanna move over to
very,
chess.
very old building here.
So he said that
Well,
if
built
you
in
just
1908.
hit a refresh.
Okay.
Just go into the
Right here,
tab,
I can hit-
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if we get board one. Okay, so this now says Christoph Bamboo and Adam Stafford, so I guess this is right.
Okay.
I guess. And this would be board one. Does this look like Elliot's game?
Okay, yes, actually, this one looks more like Elliot's game than the other. The other
Okay.
one was out of control, very fascinating, but totally out of control.
That's not like Elliot. Okay, so yeah, so Elliot should be board one, but that's fine.
And he's white. Yeah,
And
okay.
He's white against Lucas and Christoph against Elliot.
Okay. And this is, I suppose, this is Elliot playing white here.
Okay. Is it
Okay.
okay?
Yeah. All right, thanks. You
You
should
see
go. You should go.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I just had to come back for my laptop.
Okay, thank you,
Okay,
Judith.
bye-bye.
Thank you so much. All right, so this is board one, folks.
Okay, this is a very regular position. Slav defense, solid black pawn on d5, no wild tactics. We're trying to get some slight positional advantage. This is Elliot's game. The other one with Christoph Bamboo is just a wild and crazy position, which hard to see who's better.
So it looks like
Here white has a little edge.
okay. All right, we'll move on. F3 is an interesting move. We'll move on in a minute. It's a funny move, but okay. White's playing King F2 maybe and King G2.
I guess it stops the knight from going to e4 or g4. If you keep the black piece back,
Okay, so Mike Walder is giving us a little opening thing here and saying that in this position right here, he prefers playing c takes d5, knight takes g6, and castles on the queen side, which was been played by Nakamura.
okay. So with all due respect to Nakamura, I'm sure that's a good plan, but the great Winslow has given us this position, so some chances for an edge for white anyway.
Okay. All right, let's move on though to board two, where this game is still being played and white is still. This is kind of a fascinating position. And black is skating on thin ice, but he's a tactical player and should have landed Elliot a knockout blow in the last round, but overplayed his hand and ended up losing.
Paul,
Yeah,
can I have your help just for a minute?
yeah. I'm going to take a quick break. Nick, you analyze this position. I'll be right back.
Okay, yeah, so this is Christoph Bamboo with the white side, and that rook on g2 is strong. But can't get out, you can trade the knight on f5, bishop on g3, but h takes g3, so that rook on g2 is stuck there. But two white pieces on the d file, and the white king has to guard the bishop on d3, and after that, the knight on d2. So we are looking for tactics for the black side as soon as white moves. Certainly not king to f1 attacking the rook. rook takes g3, and even if the bishop on d3 gets traded for the knight on f5, the knight on d2 hangs. If bishop e4, you attack that trapped rook on g2, and there's a couple things to consider. Yes, we start with knight takes g3 check, h takes g3, and the question is, do we sacrifice the exchange immediately with rook takes f2 check, or rook takes d2 check? You get an exchange and pawn for your you get a pawn for being the exchange down, but you have some checks. Any other tries? No, okay, you have to take on knight g3 check, which happened. H takes g3 check force, and yes, bishop g4 that Mike Wilder is suggesting. Bishop g4, how do you meet it? Because if bishop to f3, a blunder, rook takes d2 check, king takes d2, and bishop takes bishop on f3. But bishop to g4 check, king to f1, you're hitting the rook on g2. Maybe anyway he tries, rook takes f2 check, king takes f2, rook takes e2. Same position, except the bishop's already on g4. Probably was a good thing to throw in for black. But still, here, the white king has to go to the back rank, and something like king e1, rook to b2. There's a lot of play with those bishops at the end. Yeah, if that white bishop had been on g4, as Mike Wilder suggests, then you can't go king to e1 because of rook e2. You have to go something like king c1. But well, what happens then? Bishop f6, rook b1.
So what's
Yes,
the...
I think Mike is right. It was good to have thrown in that bishop g4 check first before this exchange sacrifice of rook takes d2, rook takes f2 check. Anyway, it's a very interesting position. Hard to say who's better in this position.
So if king d3, f5 traps the bishop, or...
Oh, what a shot. King d3, f5, no square for that.
And you're taking it with check.
Yeah, so if rook takes h7, pawn takes e4, check. And black is just winning.
Or close to it, yeah.
So,
King e1 might be forced.
yes, either king c1 or king e1. Very complicated position. King e1, b2, you could go rook e1, but black wins the a pawn. Yes, maybe king d1, rook to b2, takes h7. What's happening in that position?
Black's got moves like bishop f6. It's complicated.
Yeah, bishop f6 is probably a good move that stops rook h8 check, gets in bishop c3.
Yeah, black might be better, like Mike says.
Yeah, so a very fun position, crazy position.
This is Adam sort of over. He's got the right idea, but and he's great with tactics, but he sometimes is misevaluating the resulting positions. That's what we've seen now. This one maybe though he's doing well in.
Oh, this looks great, and certainly thank you, Adam. You're providing us with great entertainment. So I'm just not complaining one bit about your playing this game.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to board. Let's jump back down to board 3. You know, I mean, we can criticize the players' play, but still, we've got a nice, interesting, unbalanced kind of position here.
And here, Guy has gotten a slight advantage out of this opening. It's
Yeah, the C file might go to white quickly or something.
It's because Nathan allowed the center to get locked up. He didn't have to do that. He could have traded the pawn on D4 for the white pawn on E3. It would have been more open.
Yeah,
But here-
this opening went fine for black. He could have played E5 instead of playing this D4 stuff, but this worked out too. This worked out fine for him. It was primitive, but it seemed to give black an okay game.
Knight B4 is a bit odd. You're just running. Yeah, you just lost time going back and forth.
Yeah. C4 was good though. Black has to do something, I think. I mean, white's got something here, but I mean, black could just castle. Why is he?
And now the intermezzo after C takes D3, not good. Yeah, because the F7 is attacked. So your pawn structure becomes a little looser on the king side. And so white's just got a bit of edge. If you get a double rook ending, white's pawns are a bit more compact.
Yeah. Okay, I'm buying it. What, bishop F4 here for white?
Yeah, I would do that.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move down to board 4. And this game is going slowly. Daniel Wang versus Nicholas Wang. So does Bishop G5 on the second move? Is that the Torre attack, or is the Torre attack just any Bishop G5 move?
And the Torre attack is with Knight F3.
Right.
I think this gets called Trompovsky.
Trompovsky, that's right. Trompovsky.
They're all Bishop G5 at some point.
Right. Trying to knock black off of his stride. And C5 is another way to play this, right? But D5 is solid.
Yeah, I mean it's okay for black, but now the knight gets kicked back, I guess.
Unless white decides to sacrifice a pawn.
Oh, he goes for okay, very aggressive.
And this is turned into a Black Mar-Deemer gambit or something like that.
Does he actually take the pawn, or does he?
Yeah, he takes it. So
Okay.
has this transposed into a Black Mar-Deemer gambit?
Sort of. You get an extra tempo for white because that knight to E4 back to F6. So Black Mar-Deemer with an extra tempo. Still doesn't mean it's great, but it means it's exciting.
Okay. Okay, and going back to here, well, I'll try to go back. Going back to here, Mike likes C5 for black.
Okay, I'm sure Mike works out his openings very, very well. So instead of grabbing the pawn with some risk, pawn to C5, hitting the center. And
It's another way to play. Black is just playing as though nothing is wrong. Can't blame him. You can imagine Fischer being happy with Black here, right?
Fischer loved to grab pawns in his early days.
Yeah. He'd probably be just like, I've got an extra pawn, thank you very much. This is not classical chess. This is not the kind of stuff that he would go for, like a sort of a speculative pawn sack in the opening like this.
Yeah, but we like it. I'm glad to see this game. Develop your pieces, throw things up,
Yeah.
pass along. Everything's developed. You're ready for
And
95 G4 or something.
Nicholas has a very conservative style for a young chess player, I think.
Okay, and look, him grabbing the pawn and a nice move, knight d5, just walk that center. Oh, what a move to trade. I'm not sure I like that.
I think White is just slowly but surely dropping his advantage, what should he have played though?
Even bishop d2, just
Right, keeping it
fluid.
keeping it fluid, keeping it unclear. When we're a pawn down, we don't like to just clarify things and make it easier for the other player.
But h3 was a bit of a slow move anyway.
Yeah.
Knight e5 to go to g4. When you sacrifice a pawn, you have to speed it up.
Yeah, 95 and g4 rather than h3 and g4. Good. Okay, Nick. Let's roll down to these players probably also have 3.5 is my guess. There's a whole clump of them. A clump of chess players. There's a whole clump of chess players at 3.5 behind the mighty Winslow at 4.5. Let's go back to the beginning of this game. Caveman Reese versus Christian Clemens.
We gotta have our the nicknames.
Yeah, and Wang is playing Wang. This is quite a round. Hey, look at A3. We're seeing that move everywhere now. Now that
The Gadir move.
the Gadir move.
All right. We are, hot theory in the Mechanics Institute.
What did Gadir play here? D4 or Bishop B5?
Well, Mike is here in the chat.
Yeah, what was Gadir's move here?
I think it was Bishop b5, but
Yeah. The Gadir 4 knight.
yeah, Bishop b5. And
All right. Instead, takes on D5 was played. No, what's this? This is not good.
yeah, now Black must be okay. Then
In fact, this is what happened, Nick. A disaster for White.
Okay. Now, if this had been the inaugural game of A3, everyone would have laughed at the move, because all the white pieces are back there. Only one is developed, and Black controls the center. So
This is a complete disaster for White.
I don't think Gadir is happy here.
Is this how Gadir plays it? No, I'm just... okay, so 94 is clearly a mistake.
Yes.
And White should just develop the bishop to b5 or something like that.
Develop your pieces.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine White's even probably a tiny bit better after bishop b5 or some developing move.
Well, Bishop b5, Black can go knight takes c3.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to take B pawn, and that A3 has lost all its.
Yeah. You know what that's called, Nick, in Go, in the game of Go?
No.
It's called Tawari analysis, where you try to prove that a move is useless by sort of a process of elimination. Sort of by like seeing that somebody's played too many moves in one quadrant of the board to be efficient. So it's got a parallel in the game of Go. Tawari.
Mari.
Tiwari.
Tiwari.
Tawari, yeah. And that's a perfect example of when you said bishop b5, knight takes c3, b takes c3, and a3 is a wasted move, is a form of Tawari analysis. It's interesting. So this has happened, and this is incredible. What about bishop c5?
Well, speak of the devil.
Yeah. Black is just killing it here.
Yeah, now you have to regroup with the white side, getting that. Let's see, that knight on G1 was the one that started on B1, if I have this correct.
So wait a minute. C4 almost is the Noah's Ark trap here.
Yes. Actually, why didn't the bishop go to F6 or something?
I don't know, because it looks to me like white has the Noah's Ark trap here with C4.
I guess, yes, you can go bishop D4, but
Then I take on D5.
and you come out ahead, yeah.
Amazing.
Okay, and that bishop c5 allowed pawn to b4, making a3 look like a brilliant move, which no doubt it is.
More Tawari analysis. Yeah, you know what that call? You call that bringing a stone back to life. That's what you call that in Go. So the bishop should have gone back to f6, and we're seeing a funny game here. Queen h5
Yes.
check instead. And now black is surely back in control after this. What about knight f6? Ooh, that's kind of a good move, huh? Being as it threatens bishop f2 check.
Oh, I love the cheap move coming up. That's, you know.
Yeah.
But you have to play knight h3 or something to stop that, which...
And how would you write that in English descriptive? Queen knight to h3?
Yes. It's the queen's knight, yes. Knight b1, c3.
E4, G3.
Oh, I'm sorry. It is the king's knight that's returned to G1. I kind of lost count of which knight was which. Knight h3, knight to e5.
And knight G4.
Knight g4 right away.
Yeah, white's gotten away with murder in this, actually, I think.
Oh, he didn't, you know, Mike's knight e5 instead of knight g4 would have just kept.
Well, taking en passant is a very good move, and clearly black is a little better, but Christian has got to work on his middle game. I mean, he's just getting... He seems to just have no clue as to how to conduct a game out of the opening, and then he fights back like a monster once he gets into the later part of the game, or when he's forced to. But his middle game is just, he doesn't know what he's doing. We have to talk to that young man, Nick.
Well, Kristen, he's one of the stalwarts of our chess clubs.
And he was Sam Shanklin's roommate, I think.
They went to school together.
Oh, they went to school together. Abel is here in the corner correcting me right and left.
I fill the gaps.
He's filling in the huge gaps of my knowledge.
And it's not going to be chess knowledge, so. Just like.
Well, I can't even remember Trompovsky's opening anymore. I've got
Oh, that happened?
Yeah, I mean, Christian White's actually has the same amount of pieces developed as Black does now, which is an incredible improvement. Black is still looking good, but look at the position back here with Black to move.
It's like he said, well, let me start over. And
Yeah, White got himself into
Except
a
Black's
real
got
mess
all
here. Oh my gosh.
Dang. And didn't Caven like a week ago got in trouble out of the opening quick against Nathan Fong, right?
Okay, I think you're right.
So
It's,
having
it's
some
funny how
issues.
the players they're wobbly in certain areas of the game, and once if you can recognize that and then apply your study into that area, your whole game will just take on a rounder and more filled kind of purpose to it.
It looked like Stafford's game kind of developed quick already.
Yeah, let's get to that. This is the top board, however, in the under 1800 section.
Yeah, Albert Starr.
We got the stout defender, the defender, the genius defender, Albert Starr, versus the mad attacker,
yeah.
Adam Ricardo. And in this case, it looks like the mad attacker is doing his job here, and Albert's facing Bishop G5 here, right, Nick?
And he just did Queen to E8, allowing that pawn to go.
Yeah, but look at this. I mean, look at this position here. After White plays D5. Black has gotten himself into some trouble here.
Yeah, Albert Starr on the big stage.
Albert Starr can be a difficult opponent for some people because he doesn't give anything away easily, and he's a solid player.
Yeah.
But here, it looks to me like White is in control here.
Yes, if White takes on G5.
Just Bishop takes G5, winning a pawn, and sort of...
And there's no threat of
Yeah, I mean, Black's kind of...
Queen G6 and then Knight F4.
Yeah. White can defend against that probably pretty easily. Looking good for White. And there's also moves like D6 as well, which...
And this makes sense because, Adam's usually playing the top section.
And now he's just winning everything.
Yeah, I think what happened is he didn't have some of the results he wanted, so he's going to...
Confidence building.
No, this is like a thing. I mean, I used to do it when I was younger. It's like when you take a beating playing up, you sort of like go back and rebuild and go back to your own section. And this is what he's doing, and this is great because he's having a great tournament. He's playing as he should, beating opponents lower rated,
Right.
and trying to get that confidence back to challenge up.
Yeah, well, he's got a nice attacking style, and that's for sure. And but it can border on the unsound, the insound.
Yeah, but it's bad for him. It's great for us and great for everyone watching.
Right.
See some crazy.
Yeah, we've
chess.
actually seen some of the wildest chess games of all time played here by Adam. Yeah. lost in the sands of time, I think. All right.
Okay, but let's let Albert try to find some defensive moves. He's in trouble. Adam's after him, but Albert's played many a game in this club, and you don't put him away easily.
All right, here's board one, where Elliot Winslow is playing Lucas Lesniewski. And again, Elliot is just playing these openings, not getting much here, huh?
And here he's safely trying to trade into an endgame, that little endgame edge with the two bishops. Probably a wise move because there are a number of black pieces on the king side there.
Yeah, I'm already trying to find some shot, like Bishop G3 check or something, but I don't see it yet.
Yeah,
So,
black attack won't work yet because there's still all those black pieces on the queen side.
boy, Elliot is looking shaky out of the openings too lately. I mean, if black plays a6, is that really such a bad thing?
Yeah, set that big pawn on that vulnerable a5 square.
Yeah, I mean, white will eventually get to play knight c5, but then so what? You take it off with some piece, like a knight or a bishop or something. That's not going to be so bad.
Yeah, pretty solid there for black. It'll be a lot of work for Elliot to win this game.
Okay. And we're used to that kind of thing. All right, let's go up to board 2 here. And white has managed to exchange the light squared bishops. And that's got to help white. How did this
that
happen?
Really kind of breaks the attack. Your black needed both bishops.
Yeah, so he went
And
back.
what-
He went back to e1, and black did
Okay.
play rook b2, and white played rook h5.
Oh, rook h5 was a nice move. Now black needs some good move, but something like bishop c4 would be good.
Putting the
You're
bishop on the other side of the pawn.
Yeah, you're threatening maybe rook e2 check. You're threatening the pawn on b5.
Instead, this move was played, which just seems to fall right into white's hands.
Oh, just he overlooked bishop f5 check, exchanging bishop.
Which was white's idea.
That just
Bishop f6
hurts.
is in bishop c4 or bishop f6 or something like that.
Bishop c4 would have been really an interesting game, but this takes all the fun out of it. Now white's just in control. Black is struggling to draw.
Okay, I agree. For sure. And let's jump down to board 3 where Nathan Fong and Guy Argo are battling it out. I like the way white's played this. He could swing the rook over to h5 still, but he didn't play bishop f4 like we thought.
Yeah, now black will get the c file at least.
So it went like this. White played I'm
They
sorry.
played queen f5.
He played queen
first,
f5.
which bishop f4 is more efficient. Just
Because after rook g8,
well, the queen was on f2, so
right,
first black would have had to exchange the bishops,
right.
and then the rook g8. You just play rook f2, but now you don't want to go rook f2.
What do you think about this? White's definitely better here.
Yeah, except after you get rook c8, it's
Quickly, yeah.
rook to h5. Are we going to guard that h pawn?
Or play rook c8 and king d7.
Yeah, do we sacrifice a pawn with rook c8, rook h7, rook d2, and then the white forces are split, but
He does it. Nathan Fong finds a good move. I think Guy Arco might regret this decision that he's made here.
Well, still, a pawn is a pawn.
This is a tough game.
Yeah. It's probably, fair compensation for a pawn.
Mike's not sure that a pawn is a pawn. He's preferring black.
Mike, you see, you're not, you don't have these vices like greed, which,
I mean, chess and the seven deadly sins is a topic that maybe is ready for the newsletter. It's funny. I was very flattered that John said he's been reading our newsletters.
He's reading yours.
Well, he's fearful of finding his own name in there. He knows the power of the pen.
That's
you
right.
know, since he employs the pen. Since he employs the pen, he knows the pen is capable of much harm. So, but on the whole, I think he enjoys the gossip as much as I do. I think as well. I think these old stories. I'm really trying to get Elliot to write and to start recording some of his old games too. And Nick, of course, that goes without saying. You're in a completely different category. Somebody should maybe the mechanics should get a grant to take an oral history from you. I actually think that is a good idea. Something that we should maybe take an oral history from Nick DeFermio.
Oh yeah.
No, we have all this tradition here, and John has written it for a lot of years. Now you and Abel are writing this in the newsletter, so people can see the last.
You're there in the newsletter too. Every once in a while, one of your old games creeps in there. I've noticed. Yeah, somebody Elliot was telling me that some author, Nydorf author of a book on the Nydorf, was saying that you and Fisher and Brown or something like that were his main reasons for playing the Nydorf, because of the way the three of you played the Nydorf. Vigorito. He works for the Italians.
Yes. Well, this is at least equal for black. I don't, Mike is saying he thinks black's going to get a mate here with doubling rooks on the C file. That's certainly a very nice initiative. But let's see. We can think of some ways to bend here.
Maybe the rook needs to come back to h5.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
so
white's
rook h5, king d7.
What about pawn to e6? Preventing the rook. And then the rook goes back to h7.
Yeah. So you probably just want to do king d7
Rook f5, rook back over, and then rook f2.
and then rook to c8.
Oh, rook. Oh, yeah. You can't play rook f2. Because, oh yeah, yes you can.
No, well, we're talking about king d7, rook f5, rook on g to c8, threatening the bishop on c1.
Right. Gaining a quick tempo. I think Mike might be right that it's could be dodgy for the white side.
Yeah, nicer for the black side. Should he have played something else instead of rook h5?
I'm inclined to agree with Mike. This was a little excursion that was dangerous for white.
Yeah, black is at least getting the pawn back.
Okay, let's move on here and see how Daniel Wang and Nicholas Wang are doing. I think black is getting a little grip here. Plus, he's a pawn ahead, so this has been a failure for white. And black has the two bishops as well. This is just starting to look bad.
You needed some move for white to get in pawn to d5, and it didn't happen. So all blocked enter.
After c2, at least white should play bishop b5 check here. I mean, if knight c6, knight e5, okay, yeah, black can play rook c8 or something, but then you can play g4 or something. I mean, I don't know. Or bishop. But taking on b8, switching it up with taking there.
And a nice move to take on c4.
Yeah, look at this. Black is in charge. Okay. Nicely played by Nicholas. And here is the Kevin Reese, Christian Clemens game. And now, what I think is like, Christian's like, okay, I did well out of the opening. I didn't get as much as I should have. And now I'm fighting from a slightly better position, definitely a better position anyway. A5 is a good move.
Yeah, still some initiative for the black side. A file might open, bishop can come to e6, and you can get something to c4, so that white king is still not that happy in the center.
I think bishop g5 looks bad to me because white's not going to want to trade that bishop off. And f3 is another non-developing move. a5 looks good. How should white play this?
Funny, f3 does seem strange. Why not castle it?
Why not just bishop f4, attacking a piece in the middle of a board?
Yes.
I don't know. This is a little strange, and black is starting to get a nice game again. Yeah, f3. Okay. Black's ready for knight d5 with devastating effect at some point.
Yeah.
I'm trying to sound like Maurice Ashley. Really.
Well, we have to send you to Dubai, to
Gosh.
liven up the chess match.
I'm kind of glad I'm not hearing any of that commentary right now. I look at the games on Chess Bomb afterwards. And I actually look at Shanklin's commentary on chess.com. Which is, he puts them right. He writes he writes a column for chess.com right after a few hours actually, just some hours after the games, and or maybe 6 hours or less after the games. And I think he's been spot on, at least in terms of what seems to be going on, and uses a lot of computer analysis and everything. So
Yeah, that match, it was sad today. It's to see Mifo he sort of lacked. It's maybe that 136 move game took the starch out of him, and then losing the second game was bad. And today, wow, he was looking like an ordinary player to make this blunder and all over. I mean, chess is a tough game to keep your concentration up the whole. But I expected more out of him.
yeah, I mean, I we were talking. I was talking to John Donaldson about that today, and I was sort of, in my usual way, sort of just lumping Nepomniachtchi in with Karyakin and Caruana, just in the sense that they're very good, but they're just not Carlsen. And but John seemed to think that Fabiano was a stronger player than Nepomniachtchi. I'm not so sure. I think that these players are all just they're all the Paul Kereses of their generation. Fantastic players, but not destined to become world champions. They just don't have Carlsen's grit, his desire to be number one, and all those other things that make a champion. Carlsen's just a little bit more accurate, a little bit more this and a little bit more that, and it all adds up to, a 50-plus rating point difference and his hold on the world championship match.
I'm curious what Aronian said.
Yeah, what did Aronian say?
Mike has us interested now.
I think it was within Nepomniachtchi's reach as a chess player to draw the match with Carlsen, as it is with So and maybe even several other top grandmasters, to be able to hold Carlsen to a draw in a classical match, maybe.
Well, I think Carlsen had, against both of them, I think he didn't show his best game.
Yeah. And Ding, of course,
Oh, Ding, yes, this candidate is going to be really interesting this next year.
Is Ding in it?
Oh, I hope somehow he gets in. Right now he's not in. Caruana is in at least.
Who's in? Well, Nepomniachtchi will be in. It'll be Nepomniachtchi, Firouzja, Duda. Who are the players? Nepomniachtchi, Firouzja, Duda.
Yeah,
Caruana.
But who was the other one with Firouzja? Who was the runner-up?
Yeah, who was the runner-up to Firouzja?
Was it Karyakin?
That was Caruana.
It was Caruana.
that was
That's
Caruana,
right,
right.
Caruana. That's going to be an incredible.
Karyakin. He was the runner-up with Duda, right?
Is it Karyakin?
Yes, he's in again.
So that's 6.
See, I occasionally know.
No, man, you know a lot. Yeah, I mean, I'm losing it over here. That's why I sit where I am. I'm just, I'm the losing it guy here.
One moment, I have to put on some tea water.
Yeah, Nepo didn't play his swashbuckling style. He followed bad advice. Yeah, Karyakin was one of his seconds. And they do have a different style. You got to remain true to your style. Huh, interesting. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that, I guess. You know, Carlsen does have a way of taking the juice out of a position, and that's what you see. But what you don't see is that the different choices that maybe that Nepomniachtchi could have taken. Bishop e6 looks good, connecting the rooks. If knight f4, bishop g8, the knight and black is ready for knight d5, or something like along those lines, or h6, gaining the two bishops. Yeah, like Kasparov playing the Caro-Kann against the deep blue. That's true. Is everybody enjoying our webcam, which you can see the top players? Looks like there's a fight breaking out on board 6. No, just kidding.
Oh my god.
Right, yeah. Somebody's throwing a bucket of paint. No.
A bucket on the 100-year-old chess tables?
Yeah, on the 100-year-old chess tables. What you're looking at is half the chess room. The other half is out of sight, but it's also there, and there's people crowding the tables there on the lower boards. The upper boards are on the far right corner. Those are where some of the DGT boards are. White tries to get out of dodge with king c2. All right. Let's move on here. Back to Adam Mercado, and look at Alberts. Just mixing it up as usual.
All right. We have Albert Starr.
God, you gotta love those rooks at
Fine moment.
B8 and A8. I mean, they're just brimming with power.
Something it seems wrong for black there.
I mean, you know, you've got your rooks on A8 and B8, and your knights at H5 and H4. Yeah, it's a beautiful symmetry.
Albert Starr's probably thinking, all right, we're going to hurl all the pieces so they just nuke each other on the king side
of the board.
And then he's got the queen side rooks ready to go.
Yeah.
Once everything else is dead.
At the end of the game, B5 will just settle the matter in black's favor.
Well, it's entertainment, high entertainment.
In the meantime, white, of course, can just play knight takes f5, knight f3 check, gf3, ef5, and then that just looks nice for white with the pawns in the middle of the board like that.
Yeah, white is better, but still, it's still a fight in the end.
Yeah,
game, as you say, maybe he'll get in pawn to b5.
Yeah.
I hope though that we don't see knight f5 simplifying it. I want to see more action.
Okay. All right.
That's what the Tuesday night marathon is for, action.
But white can't afford to take any chances. If he moves the queen black plays queen g4. And then he a little too much action.
Yeah, I guess that could be true. It's queen e2.
Oh, queen e2, yeah.
go pawn to f3.
Knight f3, queen g4, knight h4, queen takes e2. Well, anyway, wishful thinking.
Yeah, we'll probably get that endgame. Knight f5, knight f3, check pawn f3, pawn takes f5. Look to e1 or something.
You know, just think, Nick, in the next candidates tournament, 3 of the 8 players playing will have already played a match for the world championship. Karyakin, Nepomniachtchi, and Caruana are all playing in it. That's just incredible.
And they may not be the favorites to win. It could be Farrugia who's the favorite.
Look at the knights just right now before white retakes. Amazing.
That deserves a diagram.
It definitely deserves a diagram. And even this coming position deserves a diagram.
Yes. Both sides have doubled isolated f-pawns. You know what? Black should play pawn to h3 maybe, h6. Just keep that white knight over there. But I guess it's hard to do. There's always rook to d4.
And white's going to play king h1 here, or should probably play king h1.
So, yeah, it's good for the white side. But
It's still a fight. Albert is quite the fighter. Let's go back up to board 1. And this is Winslow. Now black is offering the exchange of queens on f5. What happened here? Black played queen to g5, well, threatening bishop takes g3 check. Or rook h2 check even.
and 92 defends that. On that
Yeah.
side. He couldn't find a move. I think you're right. Black should probably play pawn to a6 on that side of the board.
I think I would play it instantly. I don't see why it's a bad move at all.
Who Winslow's play reminds me of is Carlsen. Just, not giving any ground, not giving his opponent any chance to make some good point.
No, Elliott has become he's become a total journeyman chess player. He's the Jay Bonin of the West Coast or something. Just plays in every tournament, has good results, and just blasts away.
Well, that's the consummate professional.
Yeah. So black returns with the queen to f5. But now white's going to play, what, a6? I guess then knight e4 check is winning, so...
Is it? I mean, you just moved the king to g2.
And then queen h3 check.
Excuse me. That's
that would probably... Oh, then king g1, though.
attacking the queen.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's moot. White traded on f5.
And why not a6 here? Breaks up those pawns.
Well, I guess white doesn't want to take on a6, right? I mean, play a6. Black will take on a6, maybe?
And rook takes the pawn on c6.
Oh, yeah. King d7, rook c2.
And white's got better pawns.
Yep, okay.
Yeah, queen f5 looks like it was a mistake. And the times are about even. plenty of time for white. And
All right, let's go. Let's go to the board two. That game was. Well, unfortunately for black, he has the H pawn.
yeah, hard position for black. Those rooks.
If the H pawn and the G pawn were gone, black maybe could wrangle a draw out of this.
Yes, but the rooks look like they're becoming too powerful. Yes, just hard to find a way to guard that pawn. Pawn to h6, you can probably just go rook h1. No good way to guard that h6 pawn. And once the h6 pawn goes, you have to worry about the mate of the white rooks.
All right, tough game for Adam. Well, Adam is on the verge of a breakthrough at some point, I think. He's going to become a master. He just has to figure some stuff out. This is Guy Argo, Nathan Fong.
Okay, and king f7 instead of d7, which might like king d7, but still looks like black's going to get good initiative.
Rook f5, rook c8, rook f1.
Yes, and then maybe rook to h2, grab the h pawn,
Ugh.
threaten to double on the.
Well, then I can go rook f3. Oh, you
then-
just go double, yeah.
And double.
Oh, yeah.
And
So White's in trouble here, as Mike said.
Paul, do you remember who the casual player is?
What casual player?
Who's joined our chat?
No, casual player. Hello to you, sir, or ma'am, or miss, or whoever you are. I can't remember who the casual player is. But thanks everybody for watching, and any suggestions as to this? I think White's in a little bit of trouble here, and let's move on to this game where White's finally trying to get something going here, but I believe Black should be fine here. Even h5 looks like a move.
H5 is probably the best thing to shut down.
And then knight e5. Maybe.
Okay, a little bit of play there for the white side.
Well, then you could play queen d4 on the bishop. I don't know. No, we're only doing the top 6 boards DGT, and those boards are in the far right corner of your screen up there. So we're this is the 6th round of the Tuesday Night Marathon. A tournament started in 1972. We have an international master. There's over 60 players, well over 60 players, over 80 players playing in the tournament. We have traditionally over 100. The pandemic slowed us down, and we're back to over the board play, and We have Elliot Winslow, international master, on board 1. He's winning this tournament with 4.5 out of 5 right now, and there's a whole pack of players with 3.5 out of 5. Upstate New York, represent. I spent a great summer up there and became a chess player in upstate New York during the Fischer-Spassky match in the Catskills. That's where I got my first exposure to the incredible world of chess.
Chess in the Catskills.
Yeah. Okay. So after King C2, Black put the question to the bishop. The bishop went back. The knight went to C4. Black plays this, backs up, and takes on C4. I guess White's feeling the heat here, but Black is good.
Yeah, certainly an advantage to Black.
Okay.
Nice squares, the 2 bishops.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay, so the casual player remembers that wasn't so long ago.
Yeah, that was a bad day.
Nick
Sorry
works
about
hard sometimes. We all do, and falling asleep. It can happen. These are some slow time controls as well. It's leisurely.
Well, it wasn't to do with the chess, which is usually, got a lot of action. I started very early that morning.
Okay, let's roll on to Adam Mercado versus Albert Starr. Uh-oh, Nick.
Oh, poor Albert really is in trouble here. He didn't get a quick break in. And
Okay, White played... okay, so in this position, White played knight g5 right away.
Knight g5. And then you probably have to go b5. You have to break something up there right away.
Instead, I'm sorry. Instead, rook e8, rook e1, and rook c8. And that seems to be pointless.
It's too slow.
Yeah, and now e6, knight f6, rook e5, and White's taking over here.
Well, e6, shouldn't he have played king to e7 and king to f6? Just guard that f-pawn. Stay in the game.
King g7 and king f6. I like that. Get that king involved in the game.
And now he loses the f-pawn, which isn't happening.
Okay. Albert's... notice the time differential. Albert moves too fast. So, I'm here. I don't mean to be a critic, Nick, but just take cheap pot shots at our players, but we've been trying to tell them for a long time, point some things out to them. Don't move so fast, but they're like Nepomniachtchi. They don't listen.
So, Albert, you're like Nepo. That's what Paul is saying.
Yeah. Same stuff you got to work on. Don't move too fast. Don't get discouraged.
But Adam Mercado, he is a real shark here in the under 1800s.
All right, let's roll on to board 1. And Black did play a6. But I imagine Elliot's in his element here, like you said, he's got his Carlson thing going.
Yeah, White's got a slight edge for sure with the two bishops.
Okay. Let's roll on. Board 2. So White's
What
saying,
a funny move. A2, that's kind of slow.
Nick, if he puts all his pieces on white squares, then he won't have to worry about him getting taken by the bishop.
I guess, but now if black can do something like bishop c5 check and bishop to e3, you hold that h6 pawn.
Oh, that's a nice idea, Nick. Put the bishop on e3. Get that bishop around the corner. All right, we'll see what happens here.
And that black king, I would have put it on a7 or something.
Yeah, instead of bringing it to the wrong side of the board. I agree. And we're still thinking about this one. And here's this game. Okay, things have slowed down a little, Nick.
But this is a great game. The pawn to h4, a great move. At least you're opening things up on that side of the board. I'm going to go knight e5, bishop h7, e5. But what's happening? Queen to d4. It's going to get tactical quickly here.
Let's go back to this. Okay. Black is just nicely placed here. Still, it's a long, long way.
You're looking at this game.
Kevin Reese versus Clemens.
Clemens, yes, and Clemens just has that nice bishop pair, nice light squares. He has to be enjoying himself.
This game is just going south for black. Let's go back up to Winslow. Black's trying to get knight c4 in, and white stops him at the gate with pawn to b3. And yeah, white's better. I guess the knight can come to c5 maybe. Start exerting some pressure. Or whatever.
So Mike has asked that didn't someone hang a bishop to rook f3? Not sure which game that is.
Oh, bishop c5. This is probably this check and bishop e3 business.
Oh, okay.
Maybe rook
Depends where the king
f3.
goes, yeah.
So how does white make what does white do here? Play rook f6?
Well, I like rook f6.
And use Mike's idea of rook f3 if black decides to go into e3. The king puts itself in danger by playing king d8. It's a weird move. It's a weird move.
Yeah, it's if king's in the center, it's hard to move that bishop from d6.
Well, if rook h7, bishop to f4, and that's Mr. Casual player, and that's why rook f6. I suggested rook f6.
The rook f6, I suppose we have to play rook h3. We have one. We're at rook h2.
You know, white should be able to do something. Bring the other rook in.
Yes, it ought to be lost for black.
All right, well, let's see how it goes. And we'll go down to board 3. Argo is having a long think here, quite a long think. Big time discrepancy between these two players now.
Yeah, it's off position for white, so
Yeah.
I didn't like bringing the rook back to h5.
Yeah.
I mean, it's... How do you get that bishop on c1 into play? Yeah, here you have to go rook
This is a trouble.
f5, rook c1.
Bishop f4.
Yeah, probably bishop f4 is the best move. But it's an unpleasant position, of course.
Yep. All right, let's go to h5. Bishop h7 has been played. Oh, white's got a little something going here, but maybe he should have played knight e5 first.
Yeah, that looked a little faster.
Still, now he's trying to get in g5 with brute force.
Yeah, so does black have...
King h8, maybe?
Well, or can you go for a counterattack with pawn to c3?
Just right away, pawn to c3, yes.
And then you really have to go pawn to b3, queen to a5, and you may have a serious counterattack.
Okay, king side attack versus queen side attack.
As if pawn to c3, pawn to b3, pawn to a5, king to b1. Maybe we can sacrifice the bishop on...
Yeah, you got to believe black is better here. Plus he's a pawn up. So, to begin with, white's play is just kind of... He's thrashing around without as much of a... Oh, a4. c3, b3, queen a5, a4.
Well, that's... Wow. b5?
Okay. We'll see what the players come up with. Let's go to this game again. White's knights just, they just are not doing anything. The knight at g3 is practically paralyzed. The knight at b2 goes back to b2. It's like, ugh. Okay, folks.
Mike, I was talking about queen to a5 on after c3, b3, queen to a5. My idea.
Okay, Albert's lost here versus Adam Mercado. Let's go back up to Winslow. Wow, black castles. I didn't even know that was legal.
Clever move.
That is a funny move. I mean, you'd think that the black rook would be useful on the H file, but what do I know?
Well, okay, he doesn't want to open the H file.
Yeah,
so
I mean, the H file is Schwarzmile.
it's very good. He did go F takes G4 with kind of freeze white's pawns.
Yeah.
Um,
An interesting game going on here. Still gotta like white, I guess. Let's move on to board 2. White is still thinking. So board 3, and white is still thinking in this game too. Finally, and black is still thinking here. And Christian Clemens just plays the obvious bishop back to f7.
Christian often gets an advantage, but yes, he hasn't learned the Carlsen technique yet of how to press the edge.
When did Carlsen first win the title? How long has he
Hey.
been world champion?
Well, you know, it was 2013, and he's been the number 1 rated player in the world since, I think 12 years ago. Year was that 2009 or
So he's going to be world champion for 9-10 years. A really dominant reign, and
So Mike is commenting that Christian Clemens doesn't have the killer instinct in him. And this reminded me that one of our players, Richard Hack, got a very good chess cap with a picture of the chessboard on it. And it said killer, didn't it?
yeah, but he's not wearing it this round. He's wearing a tweed cap. Much more sophisticated.
Although he might have trouble winning his game there.
Right. Well, I mean, baseball players all wear caps and stuff like that. Why can't chess players? You know.
Oh, yeah. But we don't see caps in chess players. We saw Nepo changed his hairstyle today.
Is that right? As much good as it did him, huh?
You wanted to change something. You wanted to change how the match went. But
Change your chess moves. I don't know what to suggest. I think what Aronian said must be correct in some respect, obviously.
Well, there's still games in the match, and Nepo can at least know what he's made of, just start winging. And even if you lose the match, if you win one brilliant game, you feel better.
I don't see any hope for black here.
Okay, let's try. King to h3 by white, pawn to c6. And the king comes to g4, pawn takes d5, pawn takes d5, b5, and you have a passed pawn. A little too slow, but it might worry you. He's actually 2 pawns down on the king ending. That's a lot.
So what about king f1 instead?
Yeah, well, they both win. But king f1, I can't find anything scary to do. No, I don't think you need this for your endgame class. Okay, great Winslow. Now, Mike had suggested knight to f4, I think it was. Maybe pawn to g5. Oh, knight f4 with the idea of pawn to g5. Knight takes d5 using the pin on the c5. Ah, that was clever and cheap. Good combination.
But I guess black could play knight b5 or something.
Yes.
And take on f4 if given the opportunity. Still, knight g3. It's a good plan. Anyway, to put the knight on f4.
And maybe the white bishop comes down to f1 to d3.
But this looks good too. I mean, now h takes g, and if knight b5, knight f5, threatening knight e7 mate.
Ooh, this. Yeah, white is happy when this pawn gets exchanged.
Now black's strategy looks wrong. Castling on the king side. This is really gone south for black.
Oh, soon white's going to have a very
Knight
big edge.
h7. What is this? Just some kind of panic attack. I might start off with bishop to b4 here. And then take it. Look at that, Nick. You can almost get one of those Anastasia's mate things going here. Bishop b4, rook moves, take on d6, play knight f5. Hope he goes back to c7 and he didn't play his rook to e8. Do a lot of hoping, Nick.
Oh, it's not a nice position.
No.
Not nice at all.
Okay. Argo Fong.
Now, Winslow could win the tournament maybe with a round to go if he.
Look at this.
Keeps
He
this up.
played the rook to h7 check and black went king to g6. And white didn't take on e7, I guess because of rook h8.
Oh, very clever trap there.
Now white can play bishop h6 check with tempo.
Yeah, at least it gets something developed. It's
Still is right. King
Awkward,
g6.
but- yeah. You're now.
You're
not
now an
just a
hour
very-
behind on the clock as well. Okay. Nick, are you okay if I take a 10-minute break, 5-minute break
Sure,
rather?
let's find a different game. The
Okay.
oh, this game. This looks good. So-
It's white to move here.
Okay. Well, we discussed this.
Shall I? If black is sacrificed a piece.
I thought it would be black's move in this position, but
It's white's move.
okay.
Do you want me to leave it here?
Could you just go back 3 moves and then
Yeah.
get to this position?
So black did play c3, b3,
B3, B3,
queen a5,
Queen A5,
king b1,
King B1, and then
bishop takes c2 check.
So he took check, and king takes, and then queen.
Oh, he must have played queen takes.
Oh, he didn't play queen takes A2.
No, he did because we've reached the position by transposition because we're having the DGT ridiculousness. So he played queen a2 check, and white's played king d3.
So we think it's black's move in this position rather than white.
Yeah, it's black's move.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes a lot more sense. What move? Maybe pawn to c2.
No, I guess it's white's move. I don't know what's going on here. No, I guess it's. I'm gonna refresh the position, the boards, and see if we can get the correct thing going here. This is very strange. Is there an issue with the? There's some DGT issue here.
Which one?
It says it's white's. It indicates that Daniel Wang and Nicholas Wang. Do you feel like having a seat here for a minute?
Well, let me resolve that because I do notice on the thing that
Okay.
it's, something's up. Daniel Wang's game.
Yeah.
Let me take a picture of the score sheet.
Yeah, black's clock is ticking, so
Oh, black's clock is ticking. So
it should be
All right.
black's move.
yes, unless something very strange happens.
Except for it has the arrow down here as that this being black's last move, and that it's white's move. So something is a little ginky with it. Let's move on to.
Okay, and Mike Weldon says rook a8 has been played.
No, he's suggesting that move.
Okay, which would be black to move. We'll move on to another board where we're sure whose move it is.
Just
Okay. So Christian is starting to take control.
rook
here.
a1, rook a1, rook e2.
Yes, he's able to
That just
break
wins.
in there.
That just wins.
Well, it certainly
I think.
eyes black up. Rook takes a1, rook takes a1, rook e2. Pawn on g2 needs to go to g3, and then black's looking for something, some knockout. Still no complete knockout.
Yeah, nothing convincing yet, I guess. Okay. Meanwhile,
Okay. Good night, casual player. I guess it's late there on the East Coast.
and it's and actually, Albert lost the game. King g5 is given, but obviously black resigned after this.
2 pawns down, doubled though they may be, are
It's
very
updated
powerful
now.
in a king ending.
Okay. All right, so Albert loses on board 6, and the game has been updated, the Nicholas Wang game. I'm going to take a quick break. And would you like me to leave with you with, or Abel's coming.
Yeah.
Sit down for a minute.
Oh.
So, all right.
All right. Hello, everyone. Whoa, there's an attack from Elliot here.
Yes, it's an end game, but that's not going to stop the great Winslow. throwing all his pieces there.
Yeah. I don't know that I don't think they've played each other very often. Lucas and Elliot. Has Elliot said anything about that? Hey, Mike. Hey, when John Donaldson was here, I asked him, hey, if I showed up on a random Friday, can I just get a house game? And he said absolutely in Berkeley. So the possibility exists that I'll show up on a Friday and lose to someone. So Mike's saying is 94 94. Is that a shot?
That is a check. That is a check. Bring up the bishop on c7 to come down and cause big trouble.
Look at that.
How does that work? It's
Oof. Yeah, because then if takes and then takes rook check and then you're gonna pick up that knight, huh? G3.
that is a great shot. I think it works. So knight checks, and definitely if he doesn't have that shot, he's lost. So let's see if he finds it. Knight e4 check. If knight takes e4, there's bishop on c7 takes the rook on h2 that stops the attack and just wins. So knight takes e4 check, you have to go f3 takes e4 and probably f5 takes e4 check. So a couple of possibilities for white there. Like king to e2 gets out of the check. Bishop takes g3. Rook takes the knight on h7, and white is a piece up, except rook f2 check. King d1, rook takes g2, gets your piece back. Wild and crazy things happening.
Like short of that, that seems like the thing to do. 4, 5, 6, 4. Material even so far. And Adam Mercado did win his game against Albert Starr.
Yes, he's in good form there.
So keep an eye to see if Lucas does indeed make that move. See, now I updated the game with Daniel Wang and Nicholas Wang. I took a picture of the score sheet and I adjusted the game here. I have to go verify if moves have been played because hopefully it's not the DGT being stuck, although I do see the clock running. So
this is a crazy game. So well played, you know. That's
Daniel Wang playing some great chess. I mean, he was an unrated player just a few months ago.
oh, really? Wow. Well, this is a high level game.
And he might be one of those players that was, a pretty decent chess player, then pandemic, then played a ton of chess, and actually got really good online, and now transitioning those skills live. Let's the Kevin Reese Christian Clemens game here.
Yeah, this round is particularly exciting. Okay, just as we predicted, Black exchanged rooks on the A file, so the other one could come into E2, and White just played G3, still just holding everything, and
And if Jonah Bush and Mike Walder, you guys are watching the broadcast and listening, I wanted to take Jonah up on. I wanted to come to Berkeley, see kind of where the people play in the street, at the cafes or at the corners, and then write about it. So if I get that opportunity, maybe I'll send you guys an email and let me know where to go, and I'll show up there. My old stomping grounds around the campus of UC Berkeley.
Yeah, Berkeley just has such incredible chess memories for me. It really does.
Yeah.
I've written about them in the newsletter.
And I've organized a couple of people's tournament on campus.
Yeah, I've played in some of the earlier ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The really early ones.
Really early ones, I guess. Yeah, I never did well in those tournaments. It's funny.
Still waiting. They were looking at knight e4, and it's played. Knight e4 played.
Oh, look at this shot.
Is that such? Oh, wow.
Knight e4 played. Mike Walder was commenting on that.
And so Elliot put his opponent's back to the wall, but it's boomeranging.
Now he's
This is
firing back.
So if knight takes e4, bishop takes h2. Whew. And if f takes e4, then just takes on e4, and if knight f5, bishop h2, and g6.
Yeah. Interesting stuff happening here.
Elliot's, yeah.
Yeah, I'll let you guys get to it. I'll be out there. I'll be back in a little bit.
Yeah. All right. All right, I took a little walk around. Good question. Let's just throw them both away. I can't. Could I get a new one?
Yeah,
Actually, I've got a one I brought from home somewhere in here. Yeah.
When in doubt, throw them away.
We couldn't figure out which mask belonged to, I didn't write my name on it, so we're throwing them away.
You put your sticker on it.
Well, this game of Elliot's could be a draw.
How so, Nick?
Pawn takes e4, pawn takes f takes e4 check, king to g1, bishop takes g2, rook takes h7, so you're knight ahead, but bishop f2 check, king to f1, and nothing else works for black except bishop to d3 check, king to g1, bishop f2 check for the draw.
Can the king go to e2?
Well, then the rook comes with that f2 with check,
And the king goes to d1?
and you pick up the bishop on g2, which is one pawn ahead for.
And if rook h8 check, the rook at b8 is protected by the bishop?
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay. Let's continue that. So you're doing pawn takes e4 check, f takes e4. You say you go king to e2 immediately. Bishop takes bishop takes
G3.
Takes h7, rook f2 check, king to d1, rook takes g2. We're going rook to f7 check.
Rook h8 check?
Sorry, rook to h8 check, king f7. Is there any follow-up? You can go rook to f1 check. King g6 seems safe.
Can't you just trade rooks and play rook h8 and then try to attack pawns from the back?
I guess, but it's not very easy to attack them. Where's that white rook going to go? And meanwhile, your pawn down, your g4 pawn is hanging.
And black's got the G7 pawn ready to run.
I don't think Winslow will lose this. And yes, certainly Lucas would be probably very happy with a draw if he gets it. But here, Winslow obviously didn't see that great shot. And
I don't see a repetition.
oh,
So white can play king G1 instead, forcing.
yeah, because I don't see any good discovered for black. You know, after
Can you go to H4 check and then take the rook on H7?
well, after bishop to H4 check, we'll go back to G1. If you take the rook, I take your bishop on H4, and I have two bishops for a rook.
I know, but I was just thinking that, yeah.
And if the bishop would go take after king F1, if the bishop takes on E3 check, king to E2, and that turns out piece ahead for the
Yeah, because if bishop D2, you can even play king D2, rook F2, and give up the bishop at G2 because you'll lose your rook in the corner that time.
that's a nice
rook
simple way.
You'll lose the rook at B8. So it's a draw, maybe.
Well, we'll see. How much is Winslow going to fight?
All right, here's a line, Elliot. Here's a line. Knight takes E4.
Bishop takes H2.
Knight C5.
Let's say bishop back to 6.
Now I fork your two rooks.
Okay, pawn takes E4.
And then I play F4. I don't know. I'm just trying to, or I take one of the rooks and or play pawn F4. I guess that's not good.
What's the count there? It is one pawn. Let's see, 2, 4, 5, 6 against. It's only one pawn down for white. We're going to have the two bishops. If you want to try to win, it's probably the best attempt. Still, black ought to be better.
Okay. Tough game. Let's see how board 2 is going. Oh no. Wow. It's gotten tactical again.
Okay.
So this happened. He played rook h7 and black played rook g3. And white played b6. Why didn't white just take on h6? I guess that's closing into drawing territory. Maybe rook h7 was a mistake, I think. Right? b6 is an attempt to get something going here.
It's gotten very interesting here.
I guess take on c7 and play rook d2 check?
Well, yeah, if you take on c7, if bishop takes c7, rook d2 check, king c8, rook c2, there's no way to guard the bishop on c7.
That was my cheap idea.
So if pawn takes c7 check, he has to go to c8.
And then rook d2 again?
And rook to d6.
Michael's saying rook d2 first.
Rook d2 first. Oh, that
Ooh, that's...
rook d6, rook takes c7.
Dastardly. Oh, I think that's a winning move. King C8 is met by just pawn takes. Check King T7. Rook check and then pawn takes C7, right?
Yeah, that could force the win of bishop.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move quickly on, shall we?
Uh-huh.
Guy Argo. Ooh. Wow. Look at that.
Oh, what a shot.
And wins. White resigned. Brilliant shot ending the game. If bishop takes g3, rook on c to g2 mate. And Guy Argo goes down against Nathan Fong.
Nathan has been playing really good chess lately.
Yeah, he's a good player for sure. Black played this. White went back there, and that just got wiped out by that. I doubt if White had a defense there anyway. A quick end.
Yes. But once he grabbed the pawn, he had to do something very active. Had to play like Fischer.
So just humor me. What happens after rook f3?
Rook to c1 check. Oh, bishop would take. Oh, okay. Rook f3.
Oh, you win the bishop, right? Rook g2 check, king f1, rook f2 check.
Nice. Okay. Nice and clean. I'm glad you had that.
Rook c g2, king f1, rook f2 check. And that just wins the piece.
It's a very clear resignation.
Oh.
Doesn't have to beat himself up because of that.
Okay, well, Nathan stays in the running here. Let's see this game. Wow, black. Okay, so this game went king g3. It was black's move, and black chose the very odd queen a5. Okay, so this must be something. Okay, black played rook c8. We're going to assume that there was some kind of issue there with the...
I kind of like pawn to c2 instead.
And rook takes b3?
Okay, so now 2, 4, 6, 7. We actually have 4 pawns for the piece.
Yeah.
But somehow White's got White's
What about knight e5 here?
White's got actually a safe game for the moment. Not so easy.
I'd play knight e5 without even thinking here, I think. But maybe that's bad. Queen d5.
And then queen g2 check's a bit annoying.
Yeah. Hard for White to do anything, really.
What if you go pawn to g5? Just open some lines over there. Oh, it's...
Yeah.
It's hard to keep control of the center and push.
I guess I'll play A5.
A5, pawn takes H6.
And then A4.
Okay. A4, pawn to. Wow, that pawn's. Pawn takes H6. Oh, and we can't move any of the rooks.
I'm just throwing out some random moves.
Oh, they're good ones. They're good ones. E5, A5, pawn takes H6, pawn to A4. And our attack is just too slow.
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe not. Queen E5 and queen takes B5.
Okay, good. Queen E5, bishop F6, queen takes B5, slows down the attack.
And prevents queen E2 check. Maybe B4 was better than A4. He plays it, Nick, so we're about to see the dramatic...
So Mike is suggesting just to take the pawn, which is kind of a be more direct defense. Pawn takes G5, bishop takes G5. Bishop takes G5. You have to take with the knight.
Or you could play, black could even play pawn F6 there, which takes away the E5 square from the... Pawn takes G5, bishop G5, pawn F6. That's gotta be, and then you can go A5, A4, maybe. It also takes away that knight E5 move. Tough little game.
Yeah, it's exciting though. I like both players are really, they're just throwing punches.
This game has definitely progressed. Or
So, Christian has gotten something.
yeah,
That is
definitely. Black's in the driver's seat here, and we know that this game ended in a win. So let's jump up to Winslow, who's still thinking.
And his clock must be ticking down at this, 30 minutes. It's exactly the right time to think. First, calm down, see, what's happening, and then weigh your options, decide how much you're going to risk.
Board 2. White decided, oh, this threatens rook HA check.
Yeah.
Black played rook takes G4. White simply checked and then played rook C2, threatening rook check. So black checks. And my guess is black's going to have to go to the back rank, and white's king is probably heading in the right direction, I would say.
Yeah. So black rook has to go to the back rank now or after one more check. And
then you can just take on H6, and if bishop C7, pin it and win it. So this must be lost for black.
well, okay, let's say we go rook E4 check, king to D3, rook back to D8. If you take on H6, you can actually take the pawn on C7 because we're going to have...
rook D8 check and rook D7.
Yeah. So, defense.
Maybe white can play more slowly, bring the king up to d4.
Yeah, it's maybe that h6 pawn isn't so important, but I think Mike's move of rook d2 instead of pawn takes c7 was more accurate.
It's beginning to look that way.
Still, yeah, here it's borderline winner draw. It's very
Another.
interesting.
I like
Mike
this
got-
rook on d8, rook d7 check defense. Nice. Let's go down to this game. So it's gone h takes g5, bishop g5. Doesn't f6 look like a nice move somehow?
Gives also the king some square to run to, but
Another tense game. I mean, white's walking a tightrope here. Bishop d6. Michael likes that move. I think black must be in charge here. White's hoping for a miracle.
bishop d6.
A friend of mine wrote a song called "I Need a Miracle Every Day." Every day he needs a miracle. Shout out to my friend David. Actually, David plays chess on the beach in Venice, I think, or something. And there's video of him playing chess on the beach. There's some guys down there that have some kind of like
That should be
big
the name.
following on YouTube.
That should be the name of the song. Chess on the Beach.
Chess on the beach. He needs a miracle every day. Okay, let's take a look at Kevin Reese and Christian Clemens. You know, white's going to have this. Black needs to get something going here. It's not so readily apparent.
Clear pawn down, but there'll be ways to go. Maybe push that pawn to c5 just so it's on a dark square.
Back to Winslow, who is taken on f5. And now he's faced with either king e2 or king g1, because knight f5 doesn't seem to work. To bishop h2, rook h2, g6. And it looks like he's lost.
Yes, not knight f5, clear pawn down. It's not a good situation.
So king e2, bishop g3, rook... Oh, he plays king g1. He must have thought it out.
Well, he'll still be in the lead at least. That's probably what he's thinking.
A lucky escape by Winslow, I suppose. A nice little tactic by Lucas, and it just shows how hard it is to beat Elliott, even with even when you surprise him like this. He's, you know, he sits there and he doesn't panic. He tries to figure a way out. That's what strong players do. So there's no good discovered check. What about
Well, it's a funny thing,
bishop takes... Wait a minute, what about bishop to e3 check?
but then the white king comes to e2.
And then if bishop h6.
Well, okay, it's
Yeah.
we'll actually go bishop takes h6,
Yeah.
and if king takes h7, bishop f4.
Yeah, that's the simplest. So we might get a draw by repetition here, huh?
An exciting finish.
Unless black seriously misplays his hand. He's lucky that the bishop at g3 protects the rook at b8. In a sense, you know what I mean?
It all works out for black.
Yeah. It's amazing. Bishop g3 is a perfect draw. King g1.
Yeah, there's no point playing a pawn down.
Interesting game, a well-played game.
Yes. I mean, there was never any big advantage for white. Small advantage, but nothing more.
Well, this is simply played now. Queen d5, right?
Queen d5, and we might go knight to e4. Interesting ideas.
You mean like knight f6 and queen h6 or something? Or
It's coming up, yeah.
Oh, okay, so he says go ahead and play queen e4, I don't mind. And it's true, maybe that check at h7 isn't really anything.
No, that's not a worry.
How
I
about
might go knight d4 anyway, because you can maybe go knight d6 and put the
how about rook a5 here?
rook a5.
Stopping pawn to b3 for the moment.
Oh, I like that. You want to play positionally in this wild and crazy position.
Well, I'm trying to find a role for this rook. I don't know.
And stops into d5. So if rook a5, rook a to b8, and you play rook to b3, stopping b3 check.
Michael likes h6. But doesn't h6 look a little desperate?
Well, it's got a big threat, maybe h7 check.
Yeah.
So
And if you take it, then knight takes f7 or something, blowing open the king's side.
or knight back to e4.
Yeah, or knight back to e4. Yeah. Yikes.
I like h6.
Yeah. Good move, Michael. Rook a5 is ridiculous. I don't know who suggested that.
That may also be good. You know, that's.
All right, this game is this game might be turning in White's favor even. And here is Kevin Reese, who has decided to trade the queen side for the king side. Probably not a wise move, but we can't be sure yet.
Those black pawns look like they're running fast.
G takes f4 here.
Yeah, and the knight is attacked.
Okay.
It just doesn't look like a good defense. that bishop is great working on both sides of the board. So
Yeah.
I'm not so afraid of your queen side play, and gets a lot of help on the king side.
And black has played the move we were expecting. Bishop g3 check. Really nice game by black.
And Winslow is thinking, will he play on a pawn down? But he won't. He won't in the tournament situation. He desperately had to win. He'd go king to e2. Yes, it is
Well, just-
time for dinner, Elliot.
Just for the it's time for dinner. All right, just for the sake of argument, let's say white plays king to e2, rook f2, king d1, rook g2, rook h8, king f7, rook b8, bishop g8, and then rook h8.
And bishop, where should the bishop go? Maybe d6.
And if rook d8, I can just play king e6, king e7. Yeah.
And the g pawn.
And you're going to lose another pawn. Ugh. Yeah, the bishop nicely defends all those pawns. Okay.
Well, all right. It's Winslow is thinking just because the next move will be a draw. So, okay, this game has gotten exciting. So rook takes h6, bishop takes c7, may be a draw.
Because of the rook d8 check and rook d7 idea?
Yes. Yeah, how can white try to win this? Just not easy.
Maybe the king should have gone over and taken the h pawn. White's racking his brains. The main line we're looking at, folks, is rook h6, bishop takes c7, rook pins the bishop, and then black plays rook d8 check, and then plays rook d7. All right, let's move.
King d2, we can keep checking. Just
All right, let's move on to Christian Clemens' game. Let's jump down to Christian Clemens' game. White gave a check and then took the pawn at c7. But this has got to be winning for black.
we had, I think, had we complained that Christian had not been playing aggressive enough, and yet here he's played a great endgame.
Yeah, I think it's the middle game that he really flounders in. And I think that it's not a question of him being an aggressive player and too nice of a guy or anything like that. I think it's just, he's not paying enough attention to this one area of the game.
Yes, that black F pawn is marching very quickly.
Yeah. Okay.
King to E1 or F1, then pawn to F3, the rook bishop.
Combine, yeah, it should be a quick win. let's go to Elliot's game. And black is... Now it's black's turn to get tempted to make a bad move.
So bishop d3 will be a draw. I believe it'll be the third time. And any other move is losing for so.
All right, just for the sake of ridiculousness, what if you play bishop e3 check, king e2, and bishop takes d4?
Oh, okay. And you would have
3 pawns for a piece.
that's really good. And some threat. Wow. Okay. Black would be a bit better there. That
Except
would be
for
excellent.
rook h8 check, king f7, rook f1 check, king e7, bishop b4 check, c5. So it works tactically, I think.
Yes. So okay, if that line bishop e3 check, king e2, bishop takes d4, rook h8 check, king f7, f1 check,
King e7.
king e7, not bishop f6 because you'd get pinned.
No, bishop g5 check.
Bishop e5 and then bishop f6.
Yeah, and if bishop b4, then c5. So it looks like black could maybe do this to try to win the game, but it's take a lot of nerves of steel.
Very interesting position. Well, bishop g5.
The bishop has to go back to f6.
Yes, and
The rook at h8 is hanging.
we could go bishop takes f6, pawn takes f6, rook h7 check.
Ah, because you can't play rook h8 because of bishop e5 check? You could do that and bail out that way.
Well, it's a real winning attempt if black wants to try. That's the way to play it. If Winslow had the black side, I'm sure he'd choose that.
All right. An interesting line. Let's go back to this game where white has decided to go back over to the king side, I think, maybe.
So he's down to 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So really tough to try to win so little time. Oh, rook to b3 seems slow to me. Yeah, something.
Why
like
did black play? Oh, wait, so black played rook c b8. That's an interesting move. I guess it threatens b3 check with a vengeance.
Indeed. I don't like queen e4 that much because just
we that's right. It turns out h6 is probably the right move here. This just isn't enough of a threat, right?
yeah, that if the white queen leaves the center to go checking down over there, then the black queen and pawns will just checkmate it. So it's not a great threat, that check. And now that rook on b3 is also not in the game. So you need a fast move. Pawn a4 is coming and everything else is checks after that. So
White lost a crucial tempo. Queen h7 check is...
and now that you've only got one rook to be throwing at the black king. That rook b3, maybe queen e4 was a losing move.
Okay.
Can we find anything here?
I was looking at rook a4.
You know, it's probably the best move, your positional play with the rooks. You just have to stop black. But it's hard to believe that'll hold the game. Rook a4, can we do queen b5?
Yeah, and then if you play queen h7 and knight e6 check, it's not enough, right? Because you can't even bring a rook over to the file.
Yes, the two rooks are...
The rooks are out of the attack completely. All right, well, we'll see how White tries to solve his problems in a minute. And Christian Clemens is doing the right thing here. Ooh, this is it.
Everybody's in the attack.
Yeah, this is...
Shooting the black king.
Yeah. And Black is still thinking here, and White has decided to play the king up to the king side as with only 2 minutes and seconds left on his clock.
Okay, White can't lose, you would think. So he wants to take the H pawn with the king. I guess he can.
And then what? And then what do you do to win? Play the king, eliminate the... Well, at least you've gotten rid of that pawn. Then maybe you could play your king into d5 or something. I don't know.
There's a line like rook to g8 check, king to h5, rook g5 check, king to h6, rook to c5. And black may be able to corral the c pawn.
Yep. Yes, indeed. I like that. Black is close to a draw here. I'd say maybe with the time situation, even might be close to a win. Oh, wow. Look at this, Nick. He played it. He played for the win.
Oh, no, he played for the win? Guts? Okay. That's...
Oh,
You
but there's a flaw, right?
Not,
Oh, no,
not
no, no,
the
no.
real flaw. It's
Yeah.
Check king to e7, bishop g5, check bishop f6.
Yeah.
Yeah, there may be a flaw. Bishop g5, check bishop f6, and then a tricky move, rook h7. Trying to win a pawn. But somehow, even if it's 2 pawns against the bishop, those advanced center pawns could be good. Yes, this could be a little dangerous.
This could be losing for black. White trades everything, plays g5 and bishop h3.
Oh, oh, what a clever idea. So trade both rooks on f8. Black recaptures with the king on to g5.
Going
Maybe.
straight for the b7 pawn.
Oh,
King e7, bishop h3.
king d6.
King d6.
Bishop f4 check, maybe.
Oh yeah, bishop f4 check.
King to c5, bishop c8.
Oh.
That's quite an idea. So this game's turning into a fight, and we're not sure who's better.
And both players have some time to figure things out. But hats off to Lucas for trying to win this game. Amazing. Fighting spirit.
I thought he would think, oh, I'm playing the international master. A draw is good. I escape. But no, he keeps fighting.
Black's in the think tank here. And this is... okay, so if a4, rook b4...
Okay, that's his idea. It feels like it doesn't work.
God, it's an amazing... I mean... White's just taking this, like, paralyzingly slow approach here. But Black does have to worry about getting mated on the back rank or something.
So a4, rook to b4, queen to a2 check.
Yikes.
You put a rook in the way, the pawn takes it, and that's probably the end. The king can't move, really.
If queen a2 check is the end, then that's it. It's either he can't move the king. He could go to king takes c3.
Then rook to c8 check, king to d3, queen c2 check, king d3 to c3 check, king to f4, queen to h2 check, king has to go to g4, it's rook g3 check. That's the end.
So a4 is possible here.
Yeah, a4 looks like it just wins. I can't see any defense for like
Rook b4, queen a2 check, king c3 is absolutely forced. And then rook c8 check, king d3, followed by queen c2, king e3, rook e3, king f4, queen h2, king g4, rook e3. Nice variation, Nick.
there may be another win somewhere, but it's, if he doesn't see that, then But White will at least get one move for the attack.
Okay, we have Caven Reese, who has obviously lost this game.
Yes. Yep.
And Christian Clemens pulls it. Well, he had a crushing opening, and then he allowed something to happen. And oh, look at this! If Rook takes G3, Bishop D. What? I'm not sure that this is the exact end of the position, the game here.
It must have been Black's move, and he do pawn to F.
Bishop to D3 check. Rook takes G6. Anything wins. Not Rook G3. I don't think Rook G3 could have been the move, allowing Rook takes G3 check. All right. We'll pass that up. After all that, White plays Rook takes H6 anyway. And now Black doesn't have the defense that we were looking at.
Oh yeah, that's
So
makes it difficult.
So back here, once the king goes to the H file, Black doesn't have that defense, and White can play Rook H6, right? But he's got your Rook C5 defense that he didn't play.
But yeah, he should have tried Rook G8 check. So here, White's got some chances again. And 2 minutes on the clock. But okay, he says, what can you do to me?
Right.
Well, I guess he can go Rook to D4 and the other Rook to D7 and Rook D8 check.
What a funny game. Black got really lucky in that he was able to eliminate those G and H pawns. He was lucky that he was able to eliminate White's G pawn. That was the real setting thing here.
Yeah.
Making the win problematic for White.
It's quite an endgame. It's not often do you get to draw an endgame with clear exchange down.
All right, let's take a look at Winslow's game. And the variation that we were looking at, Nick, has come to pass.
You're with pawn to T5. Okay. So very interesting endgame.
Great endgame here.
Okay, do Bishop F4 check. Yes. King C5. Bishop to B. Bishop F4 check, King C5, Bishop C8. I guess King to B5, Bishop C7.
What a position. Hey, why? What?
Are you late?
Yeah. So we're saying hi. Yeah, that's what we do here. We don't walk right into the studio.
We say hi to the family.
Yeah, man. Missed you the last couple of weeks, man.
I've been very recent.
Good. I hope that's good. Yeah.
And yeah, you can see the webcam. Still some people.
Juan Sendejas is in the house. Yeah, I love the webcam. You can see the fights breaking out on the chat. You know, like somebody's throwing a chair over there on board 3. Board 2, there somebody just, swept all the pieces off the board and stormed out. Yeah. So let's look at some chess here. What do you think's going on here, Nick? Elliot's going to win the b7 pawn. That should be enough to draw the game, I would guess. Black may regret the day that he played chess against Elliot Winslow.
But you know, bishop to c8, pawn to b6, and okay, he holds that b6 square first. Good move, stopping pawn to b6.
I mean, Elliot, in a way, is in his element here, you know.
This, and then I'll just send it to whoever. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's perfect. No,
Now, you know, when Black thought this through, it was possible to calculate it all the way to here, and even further, I think. What would your gut have said, Nick, in this position? Good for white or black?
You know, my gut said about even, just chances for both sides.
Amazing.
And it looks like it's good for white after that move.
Whew, King b4. He's just going to let the A pawn go? That's incredibly risky. He still has a chance to backtrack and lose the tempo with King b5. But is he really going to allow bishop b7 and bishop? I think black just made a mistake with King b4.
Yes, that bishop.
Yeah, that was clearly
bishop
bad.
Just munch all the pawns on that diagonal.
Yeah. So the question is, how crucial is this tempo?
Oh, that's a critical tempo.
So black goes back with King b5, bishop takes b7, and then, I mean, then what is black going to do? He's just marking time with the bishop. And if he can't take bishop a5 because of bishop a5 trade and bishop takes c6, then how's he going to make any progress? And then I guess it becomes, what's white going to do to make any progress? Push the pawn.
Maybe that's a good question. Bishop takes, king back to b5, bishop b7, and black just wait. How does white win? So white's at least better. King b5, bishop b7, bishop c3, e3, e2, I guess. All the black pawns are guarded, and the king. You wouldn't think that white king could make such a journey way down to 7th rank with those black pawns running.
This has been a very interesting game. But King b4 was a mistake.
Nothing good about it.
And this is another game full of mystery.
Oh, let's go back to the Wang game. Oh, this game.
I think white's just kind of moving around at this point.
In second, yes.
He's got 16 seconds. And no way to gain time on the clock. Here's a funny draw. Rook c3, king b5, rook c5, and rook c6 check. with a perpetual. And if king a7, rook a6 mate.
Yes.
All right. I can't bear to watch this. I mean, white should in no way lose this, but and the other. Oh, look what happened, Nick.
The Wang game. Oh, just as we said. Like, checkmate on the board.
So after rook a b1, he did indeed play a4, and boom, black had no trouble finding this sequence. And instead of rook g3 check, played queen g3 mate. Nice game by Nicholas.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, white had his chances, but didn't quite get a grasp on the position.
It was such a dynamic position, and Queen E4 was 2 moves ago just too slow. Just shove that H pawn up.
So here, black has to admit that he made a mistake and bring the king back to b5.
Yes, and play for those fortress.
But he's at that point. It looks like white after bishop b7 is the only player with winning chances because black is basically can't move without profit and may do anything profitable.
Yes.
So we're still looking in draw territory, I would say. And on board 1, we've got this ridiculous time situation here with white hopelessly behind on time, but there is a delay.
Oh, he's got a good idea. He wants to go rook to d8 check, trade the rooks, and win the b7 pawn. But
And nothing can prevent it.
can he win this with 16 seconds on the clock?
We have our time pressure addicts in this club. Moment of truth coming up here. I would say b6 loses here, probably. To
Oh,
king.
God. Yeah, giving all those
White squares up. Black missed your wonderful idea of playing rook check and rook c5. And white's sort of gotten an ideal formation here to play rook d8 check. Is he going to do it? Why not? You have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
12 seconds.
This probably doesn't win, though, right? I mean,
Well,
you how far away can you drive the king from the a pawn?
yes. Yeah, you have to drive the black king over to the G file or something, cut it off,
All the way over to the G file. It might be possible.
run back with your king. So I believe this is a technical win here.
How about
But
that?
with
I think, isn't this the
9 seconds.
Timon endgame or something like that? Is this that
Oh,
endgame
it's,
that Timon had?
I don't remember if he had it.
But it's not easy, and you've got to know the exact technique or something.
Yeah, people have studied this, and where does the where can the pawn be on the A file?
So if the black king stands on e7 and white plays rook a5, bishop a5, king a5, king d7, king b6, king c8, and it's a draw.
Yeah, so the E file is not far enough.
So you have to get him over to the f file.
Yeah. But now the king has to go to E. Yes, so it did. The bishop could go to C3. May as well move the bishop.
Oh, he voluntarily goes over to the f file, but white now he can go to the e file.
Then go back to the E file.
Yeah. White needs to get his rook on the e file, right?
Yes, he needs to drive the king all the way to the G file.
Like after king f8, he needs to play something like king d8 and somehow get the rook over to, and check the king over to the g file. You knew this endgame, Nick. You knew
I
it.
knew it was studied.
You knew
and,
it. He had to be on the G file. He has to be on the G file.
But the technique to get the king over is not easy.
Well, White's
Totally
doing
fine.
pretty well here so far. Like if king e7, rook e5 check, but then king f6. But then you go, yeah, then you put your king on what, d7?
Okay, so you've got it over to the F file. You're getting closer and closer. Still 9 seconds.
Let's look at Winslow's game here for a second. Black is thinking. It can be hard to admit you made a mistake.
Yes, that's been 14 minutes of thinking.
And a lot of really accurate moves. One, he didn't let it throw him. He played king b5, bishop b7.
Yes.
But now I think black has no winning chances at all.
No.
And just has to wait. Can he play d4, d3 check?
Ooh,
Oh,
okay,
he's
that's-
allowing g6 and bishop e5? He better be careful here.
Yeah.
Oh, Elliott plays bishop e5 right away, forcing g6. And then he's going to
Yes.
go around and scoop up that pawn with the bishop.
Yeah.
Nervy play.
Okay, I didn't think that black should give up that diagonal, so
And Elliott immediately took it, even though it allows black to play pawn g6.
yes, but those black pawns are coming there.
Oh, I think black has just lost it. Okay, so he's losing. He's going to lose all three center pawns here.
Oh, king a5, you can't do that move.
Black is just like, yeah. I think white's winning now with bishop g7.
Or bishop c6 and
Wow, Elliott. Amazing. Meltdown by black here.
That looks like
Incredible. What a wonderful game. But Elliott is I think black just lost the thread here.
the last two moves.
Yeah.
Under pressure, couldn't just sit and wait in a
And
difficult.
bishop takes d5 even defends the pawn at b3. But then can black play a5, a4? Ooh, look at that.
Well, anyway.
Oh, that's a nice move. Yeah. Wow. What an amazing turnaround. All right, let's take a look at this game here. So what do you have to do, Nick? How do you win this?
Yes, by Zugzwang, you have to be able to check on the F file and drive the king to the G file. Not easy.
And then when the king's on the G file, what do? You bring the king all the way back over to B5 to B6, and then play rook over somehow and take the A pawn, right?
Yes.
You got to hand it to White. He knows what he's doing in terms of the time, in terms of the clock, and that's a big. And that's look. Black voluntarily went over to the G file.
Okay, but he can come back.
Yeah. He's going to play rook A7. That's the wrong.
Oh, that's okay. It doesn't
Yeah.
help.
Okay. Let's take a look at Elliott's game here. I think Black might have resigned. He did. Amazing. So this is the last game here. And I think White knows sort of what he's supposed to do, but he can't seem to find a way to exactly do it. But even we're not sure, right? I mean, what the king has to, the rook has to be able to take on A5 with the king on B6 and the black rook and the black king on the G file. Is that right?
Yes, I think it should have gone the white rook to E6, the white king to D7, and you get a Zugzwang.
Well, this looks about as ideal as it gets here.
Oh God, he let him get to the G file.
Okay, so now how does White win?
Boy, okay. They'll probably try to get him to the H file.
That's right. Why not get him all the way over to the H file?
Because then you've got a sure win. Then the king just comes back and the rook takes the pawn on A5.
Okay, what's the avenue to the A5 pawn after the king goes to B6? Or should the king be on B5?
Okay, it depends. Now, if the king's on B5 and the rook went to F7 and then to A7 and took the A5 pawn.
That's it. Black just did this to himself.
Now, yes, okay, so you have to stop rook to F7 and take it, but the other thing is like
there's no way to. If you go bishop C3, then rook F8, right? Well, this is just
poor defense.
Poor defense, yes.
Oh, he found it. He found it. Wow, incredible.
Black found the poor defense. Is that what you're saying?
Oh no, it was tough to play this as white. It was well played. Very well played.
It was. He knew what he had to do, and Black didn't know what he had to do.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. And Black had much more time. Which is This is another harsh lesson for Adam.
Oh, boy.
Chris White missed Rook 8 check over and over.
It's, that's it. The G file is enough.
Is it? No, it's not. It gets to C8.
What are you talking about? Bishop
Oh,
A5, King
You're right, it gets to
A5.
oh, you're right. I thought it was black. I thought black was able to.
Well done, Mr. Winslow. That
Wow.
was quite a,
Yeah, Elliot Winslow's here.
He should have taken
And this is the
perpetual.
last game of the evening. Yeah. That was quite a interesting attempt, but he maybe could have held it
Oh yeah, he had a perpetual. Oh, you mean
after he
took the pawns?
sacrificed. Yeah, he might have been able. King B4 was he started to teeter and totter there.
Yeah.
But we called out that variation. We
You know,
saw
I
some of the
overlooked
stuff.
that he got the Rook F2 thing, and I
Yeah.
overlooked that he could play like that.
Well played. Well, I mean, you're a tough man to beat, Elliot. You really are. I mean, it's. Yeah. Oh, Judith, what are you doing watching? Adam Stafford resigned. Yes, and the round our DGT boards are done. FIDE Master Paul Whitehead. You can see the chess games are just about all finished. At least our DGT boards are. It's been 3.5 hour broadcast. Judith says she can't stay away. And good night, everyone from the Mechanics Institute. FIDE Master Paul Whitehead, and I'm about to say good night. I'm going to stop streaming.